Yeah,
She's giggling,
smiling.
so she can hear you.
Okay, that's good. Okay, guys. Well, first and foremost, thank you for attending this class. I appreciate that. And love to know, do any of you currently participate in profit share? No. And a yes. Okay, good. Good. And then are you willing to share like what you've been receiving? I mean, like how many, let's just answer it this way. How many people are in your downline at this point? You know. Nobody knows? Okay, well, I'm going to show you where to find out who's in your downline and be able to track that all the time, because that's a really fun thing to keep your eyes on and to watch your money grow. A lot of agents I used to tell them to put it in a separate account. It's fun to keep your profit share in a different account so that you can keep track of it, because otherwise it'll kind of blend in. And the first time you get profit share, you're going to go, wait, there's $50 and I don't know where it came from. And my checkbook isn't balancing or something. I can't figure this out. Chances are it's going to be your profit share, which is a great problem to have. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to share my screen. And if you want copies of what I'm sharing, this is all in KW Connect, so that you can pull this up, and it's called a Grow Your Profit Share Tree. Imagine that. Okay, so first thing we're going to look at is how does it work? How does this whole thing magically happen? And it does kind of magically happen. Your MCA makes it happen, and it's kind of a big step. But you're blessed to be in a company that we actually share half of the profits back with the agents, which is amazing. So the big picture is an associate joins any market in Keller Williams Realty and names you as their sponsor. So a lot of people are like, no, they joined another brokerage or another Keller Williams office so that I don't get profit share. Yes, you do. And you could actually be anywhere in the world. It's just a different form. We have profit share here, and they do it a little different in other countries, but it's basically the same thing. It's all profit share. So always be on the lookout for somebody who's interested in joining our brokerage, and then when you can talk about profit share and let them know, how it works. It's a whole thing. Hey, welcome. There's a profit share book right there. We have somebody who talks. Yay, Adam. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Okay, so join anywhere, any market center in the country for profit share to begin. In a particular month, part of your split or part of a split, the person who you join is going to give the company dollar to the market share, or the market center. So tell me, Adam, what's company dollar? Perfect. You said it is the part of the commission that goes to the local broker, which is the exact right answer. So let's just say I have $100,000, house that sells 3%. I have a $3,000 commission. You're on a 70-30 split, so about $900 would be company dollar. So that's the portion that goes into the profit share pool, and then we're going to continue on with what happens to that money here in the future. During that month, market center is profitable. Yes, market centers have to be profitable. So sometimes if you had somebody and maybe they joined a brand new market center that wasn't profitable yet, you might not get your profit share until that market center is profitable. On the 21st of every month, if you're profit sharing, you want to check your bank account, because that money is automatically distributed into your account. You are not getting a portion of of another agent's commission, because a lot of people think profit share is like if you made that $900 or that part goes to the company, but the other portion that would go to you, the what is it? Well, $1,100. The $1,100, that's yours. So profit share is not taken from your paycheck, it's taken from the company's paycheck. When you've been with Keller Williams for 3 years and a day, 3 years and a day, then you're vested and that profit share is yours going forward. So that would mean that if you got out of the business, you left the brokerage, you still get your profit share, which is a really cool thing. Any questions so far on profit share? You guys, if you want to write in the chat or if you want to, yell out a question, please interrupt me. Yeah, exactly. No questions? Cool. We're going to move on. All right. So, that's weird. Okay, let's do it this way. Okay. So, what we want to do is always focus on the first level. And why is the first level so important? Because it's the 50% level, and we're going to go through that. So the bulk of your earnings come from somebody who's in your first line. So you always want to focus on getting people in your first line, your first down line, which is the person that you have. Then as they bring on people in their down line, if they move up here, then you get 10%, 5, 7.5, 10, 12.5. And we're going to go through that. But really your main event is getting somebody into your first downline. Althea Osborne, she's one of the original agents in Keller Williams, and she makes about $30 million in profit share. It's pretty amazing. Our regional owners and the McKissick's make about $1 million a year. It's real. It's real money. So, and a lot of people say, oh, it's too late. I didn't get in the beginning, so I can't do that. Well, that's not true. You can start profit sharing at any time. One of our top profit share earners in our consultant's office is Roger Boca, and guess what? He just came over maybe a year ago, but he's taking this under his wings and he's going forward with it, and he's been very, very successful. So don't let that, vision that I have to be in first or I can't profit share, don't let that cloud your vision. It's absolutely not true. So how does a market center calculate profit share? This gets a little tricky. So in the beginning, when a market center is new, they may not have enough money to profit share. So Keller Williams says, hey, if you have enough money to get to what we call level 1, $2,990 of profit, you're able to profit share. You're not able to profit share on a 50-50 because when a market center is young in the beginning, well, guess what? It needs more money for expenses and startup costs. So from the first level 1, it would be 25% of the profit share pool would go to the agents and 75% goes to the owners. Because they're trying to give back to the owners for the money that they put in when they started the company. Then when a company hits level 1 and level 2, and they get up to 8250 of profits, it goes to a 35-65, 35 to the agents, 65 to the owners. And then once you're at a level 3, any profits over 11,240, it becomes a 50-50 split. So like in all of our offices that are watching this training right now, we've been on level 3 profit and consultants for probably 15, 20 years. I mean, a long time. We've been at level 3. So this would have only happened in the very beginning when a market center is just beginning. So what happens is, let's look at step 1. A market center has gross commissions of $1 million. That's the money coming in from all the transactions closing. Then the first thing they take off is the royalty. That's the 6% royalty that's taken off. So we're left with $1,042,000. Now we have to take out all the commissions that we pay the agents. That's their money, and we're left with $132,037. Well, wait, we have to pay expenses. So we have to pay salaries, we have to pay rent, we have to pay electricity, we have to pay all the things we need to run a market center. So once the expenses are backed out of that grand number, you're left with unnecessarily. It cuts into the profit share that we get to share with the agents. One time, I was making color copies, and an agent came up to me and said, "Do you really make those in color? Because doesn't that eat into my profit share?" And I said, "Yeah, it does. And thank you for reminding me." So, anytime that the market center can cut expenses and do things that are less expensive, we're doing that in order to preserve that profit so that we can share it back to the agents. Does that make sense? Perfect. Thank you, taking that. Great. So then there's what's called a profit share factor. And it basically is they take the market center profit share amount in the pool, they divide it by the company dollar, and we find a factor. Now, I ran it for last month, and in our office last month, it was like 0.2030. So the factor is going to change every month, but that factor is what determines how much money is given to each individual, and I'm going to show you that in just a minute. Then on the 21st of every month, like we said, it's automatically deposited into your account, and away you go. So I want to go over the profit share distributions, and there are 7 levels up and 7 levels down. Look at it. We're going to go through this on the blackboard back here. And it goes 50, 10, 5, 5, 7.5, 10, and 12.5. Okay, so that's all the levels, starting with level 1 to level 7. So on that example that's up here, that if we had the profit share amount distributed, it would be 50% of it would be 470, or was 475. It would be 50% is $237. 10% would be $47.50, and so on. So that all adds up to the grand total of $475.02 that was shared that month in that market center. So what do we do? How do we, figure out ways to grow our profit share? Well, one thing that people like to think about is if you focus on getting 3 people each year over 5 years, or 5 people in over 3 years. Because the minute you hit 15 people in your profit share tree, you'll start making significant money. So if you can have that goal, like over the next 5 years, if I could just get 3 people, that would be amazing. So how do we get people in our downline? That's the hardest part, but it's really not that hard at all. So I think the most important thing to do is that when you have a transaction with another agent, and it's a good transaction, which most of them are, make sure you reach out to that agent and thank them. A lot of people will bring a closing gift to the other agent, and it's an MREA book. And I know a lot of agents will put a dollar bill in the profit share page that talks about profit share, so it's just kind of like a fun thing to say, hey, here's a bookmark with a real dollar, and go check out our profit share because it explains some of that in there. Or maybe it's a lead generation model page, or something that is in there that would be a great tidbit for another agent. Put that dollar bill on that page. There is a script out there that a lot of agents have used before, and it's called the Bose Script from Mo Anderson. And she came up with this script, about 10 years ago, and it's been a great fit. And it basically is, Adam, you and I have just done a deal together, and I might say to you, hey, Adam, I had a great transaction with you. You were just a doll to do a deal with. I'm going to ask you a favor. And you're going to go, okay, what? And I'm going to say, I have spoken so highly about you to my team leader, promising to take her call. Yeah, because it's not our job to recruit. It's your team leader's job to recruit. You build a relationship, you put all the pieces together, but you don't have to go do the heavy lifting. Team leader goes in and does that. And then you're going to stay in the loop with her and go, how did it go with Susie Q? Was it a great deal, And then you're going to call Susie Q and go, how did it go with my team leader? Did you enjoy your job? Yeah, I did. But you want to solidify that relationship. So when the day comes, it could be that day, it could be in a year, it could be in 2 years, 5 years. But when the day comes where they have to sign up, well, we all sign a piece of paper that says who's your, sponsor, they're gonna remember who the person was to stay in touch. If you stay in touch, they will think about you. If you don't, somebody else may worm their way into their heart and they're gonna choose that other person as a sponsor, not you, and that hurts. So you wanna make sure that you just keep in touch. Another great way is inviting them to our trainings and inviting them to our client events or office events. So, because we always have classes, even invite them to a Zoom class so that they can learn about, whatever was going on in the market center. Questions so far? Okay, so we're going to move on, and I'm going to show you. Okay, so I've got this up here, and I've also got it, I'll move that down right behind me. So what happens is, let's just say you guys can follow along on here, and I'll follow up here. Monthly company dollar is $100,000, okay? So once again, that's all the money coming in for the transactions of the closings that we've had. And let's just say we had $70,000 worth of expenses. So that means we have $30,000 worth of profit. So remember when I said about on the first month, it's 25, 75, 35, 65, and then it's 50, 50. So at the end of the day, when we get done with all the money going in and out, it's about 50, 50. I believe it's 48, 52 to be exact. But this amount right here is divided up, okay? So $15,000 goes to the investors. These are the people that put the money in and started the, company. And then the other $15,000 goes to the agents. And what did the agents do to get this money? What happened here? You guys can shout out there too on Zoom. Why are these people getting money? What did they do?
They got closings, contracts.
They got a closed deal in that month. So they closed a transaction in the month of whatever this is. Let's just say this is September. So you have to close a deal in the month to be part of this. And this happens every month, okay? So you are Susie. Over there, there's a tree. You guys see the little tree? So let's just say we're Susie, and we're going to bring in Tom, okay? So Susie is here. Okay. Okay, so I am Susie. Now, this line here is who brought Susie in, okay? So Joe brought in Susie. Tracy, I always like to use my own name, by the way, I'm Tracy Chambers. Tracy brought in Joe. Nancy Potts. Nancy Potts is my sponsor, so I like to use Nancy. I'm gonna have to try this off. Joanne Labuda brought in Nancy. Okay. Nancy, still not working, Nancy. All right, then, so we go. Nancy. Come on, Nancy. I'll go back for that. Joanne. Brian, why did I do that? And at the top, we've got Sue. Okay. Nancy. Got it. Okay, so Susie comes into the company. Joe was her sponsor. Tracy's Joe. Nancy was mine. Joanne brought in Nancy. Brian brought in Joanne, and Sue brought in Brian. So those are the percentages of an upline. Now, the minute Susie brings in somebody in her downline, like we said here, Susie sponsored Tom. So Tom comes into the company, any company, but let's just say he came into consultants, and he was part of the $15,000 of profit that came in for September that the agents get to split. Then the big computer in the sky figures out that Tom was worth $500 of the $15,000. Okay, so that $500 is going to be divided up. So Tom brings in $500, and Tom doesn't get the $500, but who does? Susie, everybody above. She brought him in. So Susie gets $250. Joe gets $50, $25, $25, $35, $50, and $65. Now that doesn't seem like a whole lot of money. This one seems like a whole lot of money to me. But that's just one person. What if I had multiple people with my downline? Then all of those get to add up, okay? And then what if Tom had somebody in his downline? So he brings in Bob. Okay, now everybody shifts up. So now Tom is here, Bob is here, and Joe is, or what's Susie? Susie's there. So now Tom gets $250 if it was $500, and Joe gets 10% of the $500. So as you're, because these people are all in your downline. So Bob brings in, you know, Joe, I have to think of three-letter name, and Mark, and so on and so forth. And you'll see where these people, you're getting a percentage of their business if Tom or Bob or Joe are in your downline. It all works down. So some things we need to remember. I can recruit anywhere in the world. I can go anywhere, not just my own office. You're vested after 3 years. And profit share kind of changes your mindset, because I kind of have a little bit of a special love here for everybody in my downline and my upline, but especially my downline, because if Tom does a good job, guess what? I benefit from it. The company benefits from it, and so do I. And then Bob and Joe and so I might want to reach out. I might want to say, hey, there's a great class on lead generation, Tom. You should go to it. You know, you want to, you know, and it's a nice way to thank the people that named you, because you are benefiting from their success. So why wouldn't you be nice and say, hey, you know what? Thank you so much. I really appreciate, you know, you're doing a great job. Okay, so let's think of some examples. Agent came to me once. I had brought her in, and she had brought over a very high producing agent. And this high producing agent closed $1 million deal. So we know that profit share always happens the next month because we can't compute it. So she closed the deal in August. This agent was expecting to see a big profit share check in September. She got 0. Why, you guys on Zoom as well? Why did the agent, what happened in that scenario that an agent could get 0? What could happen?
The market center wasn't profitable.
The market center was very profitable that month.
She didn't have a closing herself.
Doesn't matter. She doesn't have to. You can be an agent that doesn't sell a lick of real estate and do very well in profit share. Good point, but nope. What else? What could have happened? What happened? A good thing with the agent who sold the $1 million house.
We have a nice community.
She
I don't
passed.
know. Tell us.
She passed. So she had already paid in her $21,000 or $5,250 if you're on a team.
Okay.
So there was no company dollar, and that happens a lot. People go, oh, I didn't get paid and this is just, crazy and I should have gotten money. But there is no money. So there's, it's always good to bring over a capper versus someone who's going to be on a team because you have 4 times the amount of time and money to profit share on. But if the agent, she did not bring in any money here, therefore profit share wouldn't be taken to anybody in her downline because there's no money there. So that's something that we need to think about sometimes. Does that make sense? Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys, if you want this kind of talks about how it works here where you've got, the 50%. So you always, like we use this for recruiting and you would put somebody's name there. So if you're recruiting somebody, let's say Joe's recruiting Mark, say, okay, Mark, this is you, and you would be getting 50%. And the bigger you make this first line, this is your 50% line that we're talking about, that if you build that 50% line up, that's why you're going to make so much more money because it's 5 times greater than anything here. So I had a funny story. We have a kind of a family member that has a lot of family members in her group. And we brought on the first girl, and we're just going to say, we'll call her Sue. Well, Sue named her husband, okay? And her husband is Joe. Why is it so important for husband and wife to name each other? I mean, obviously you would, because the money goes right back into your own pocket. So all the profit that Sue did, whoever does the production is in their name. You want to have that person name that person, the spouse who's doing the business, because that money goes back into your own account. Then Joe named his mother-in-law Alice. Alice named her daughter-in-law, who was also with the company, Kate. Kate named another person, I forget who it was, let's just say Sally. And Sally brought in Lois, or Louise, whatever it was. And sometimes I always wondered, I go, wonder why this is bigger. Why is this bigger than it gets? Like kind of like an hourglass. And so at the time I went back to the market center because I was driving home after these guys had all joined in, and I go, there's somebody out there who probably doesn't even know that this has all happened and these people have joined, and they're sitting on kind of like a big chunk of change because they get a lot more than like in the middle. Like this person's getting more than the people that are even closer to the person, the big person. So I went back to our MCA and I said, hey, who brought in Louise? Who was that person? You, dummy. So, I mean, it just goes to prove to me, it's like, oh, how nice. Because it goes back to the people that started the whole mess. Like who started this whole long chain and says, thank you. It's kind of like a way to get back. So, okay. Any questions on that? Okay. All right. We are going to look at where do we find this information? Well, let me show you something else here. Find the information. So every month, and this is actually mine. Every month, like you get like, okay, what was the volume that was closed? What was your year-to-date profit share? So year-to-date, I've made 21,013. So I loved it that I looked at this. It came out today. It was in my mailbox, and it was 21,000 because everybody always says, like, if you get into profit share, you literally work for free. Because the next profit share, now I paid my cap with my profit share, and any other money, now Keller Williams is paying me to work here. So we're like a 100+ company. They're paying me to work here because I've already gotten $21,000 back from them. And it will tell you who your sponsors are. Like my sponsor is Nancy Faust, Joanne Buddha, Brian Kent. Why are you see names up here? That's a real upline for me. And then it tells you every month who who the people are in your level. So level 1, and a lot of these names, I will be perfectly honest with you, I don't know who they are. Some of them are like from other market centers. This is from Upper Arlington, Dublin. So it's kind of funny, and I don't know who this person is, and yet I got $118. And bad on me that I should probably reach out and say, hey, Tamara, you're in my downline, and that's really cool. But it happens. So then it breaks it out by how much money that you're going to get. So it's an extra $2,000. It's like having a deal you didn't do. Nothing, because it's just easy mailbox money that you can have. So where do we find like this information? If you go into reports, you guys all, the first page of kw.com, and then go into your report section, and then you're going to have your tab come up, and it says profit share. And there's 2 tabs I want to show you here real quickly. It's the file. We love crystal reports, but they take a while. So if you go down to profit share and growth, the first one that is fun to look at is what is your profit share, and it will tell you your profit share for every month and year that you have been there. Actually, I think I did here. Okay, so this is sideways. I apologize. So basically, it says from 2021 down to 2007, it tells me every single month how much profit share was made. I think my biggest month was like $5, $8, $50, $100, almost $6,000 in May of 2019. It tells you like at this end of this year, I'll probably make close to 290 or lifetime 290,000. So it's real. It tells you who your sponsor is. It tells you all the information about what level you are and how many people you have at each level. Like level 1, I have 30 people. I have totally 141 people. I have 3 in level 7. It's hard to get 7. So you can get to that through your reports. And the other reports that you can get to is go back. You can get to, I'm not going to pull it up because it takes forever to pull up. But basically, it is a report that shows you everybody in your entire downline. So for me, it took 141 people, and it says, okay, this gal came over and she brought over Ken brought over Keith brought over Drew, and then she also brought in Richard brought over Hannah. And then if it has a VR behind it, that means vested, retired. So these are people that were vested, they stayed with Keller Williams for 3 years, but now they've moved on, maybe they're out of the profession or whatever. If it has an active beside it, like Chad Steinhauser, who's active, it'll just be A. And then you can see who all the people are in your downline, who they brought over, and who's in their downline. So it's kind of like if you see a name on this sheet and you're like, I can't remember where this person came from. Then if you go into your 7 levels down, then you can figure out who the person was that brought that person in to get to them. Okay, make sense? Okay, what questions do you guys have on profit share? No. The question was, do they ever cap the amount of people that you can bring into profit share? Absolutely, do not cap that. You can bring in as many people as you want. Yeah.
Is there what's the easiest way of finding people? Can you put out ads to be like, hey, are you interested in real estate, or is it just conversations you have?
I think conversation and building relationships is the best way so that you have, some credibility. But I have known agents who have put stuff out on Facebook, any kind of social media, put in ads. If you feel like this person's going to bring you X amount of dollars and I'm spending, a whole lot less on running an ad, then do it. Or a Facebook post is, great. Say, hey, anybody ever interested in learning about profit share or finding out what it's all about? love to buy you a cup of coffee. Simple. Yeah, do it. Any other questions? No? All right, well then if you guys don't have any other questions, like I said, my name's Tracy Chambers, and you can find me at Market Center 330. That's the Dublin Market Center. Just reach out and call me, text me, send me a smoke signal, and I can help you with profit share. One of my favorite things to talk about. Okay?
Thanks, Tracy.
You are so welcome. Thank you. Bye, guys. Ooh. This is the meeting, I think there's 5 days. I think that's okay. Who's Kendra?
She used to be on Thursday.
Tara, not Tara. Tertial. And it's not her. She has any questions. That you can discover. So that these are all the ones that we use. She wants to put it out the other ones. You're welcome.
So who is the person that's handling the new recruits now?
It will be announced.
Okay. Okay, cool.